Hello, science. It's us, the Council of Scientists. Welcome back to another episode of We Roguelike It Ranking. This is
Hello,
already...
science might be the best tagline ever.
That's right. Hello, science. This is shockingly episode 28 of us gathering and passing our judgment on this time is BPM bullets per minute. We're going to figure out where it goes in our giant list of the best roguelikes of all time. I'm your host, Boston, PhD. Joining me as always is Dr. Moon.
Good night, everybody.
And Monkey DDS.
Hello.
Let's start off with sort of what we thought about the game overall, and then the question we ask every month, which is, will we keep playing it? And as tradition dictates, Monkey, sorry, almost broke tradition. God, get kicked off the council for stuff like that. Monkey, we'll go with you first.
Yeah. So I think overall I like this game. Right. It's really fun to play. But when I think about it in like a critical view, there's a few negatives about it because like graphically, it's interesting visually to look at, right?
Yeah, it has a distinct style for sure.
Yeah, but oftentimes, at least on the default values, it's hard to look at.
I would agree
like,
with that. Yeah,
the red just contrast is like I sometimes I can't even see what I'm looking at. That's why I think turning down the contrast is a must if you care about your eyes.
Yeah, because they have a value in there for chromatic aberration, I think is the value where it sort of desaturates the redness.
I'm not going to lie, I'm really lucky because I'm an idiot and I don't know how to turn off the yellow blue light thing on my PC for games. So like when it hits 9 o'clock at night, my PC turns everything slightly yellow so I don't get the whole blue light thing. And 90% of the time when I was playing this game, I was playing it in that, which made it a lot less noticeable, if I'm completely honest.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
I'm an idiot and I don't know how to turn that off when I launch a game.
Right.
And I'm not going to go through 9 menus just to turn it on and then off again all of the time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think readability on things could use some work. Like I probably often miss the shrines because they blend in with the map.
Yes.
Just the background. Maybe pull an Isaac and on the map have little icons like, hey, this is what's in this room.
Yep.
Yeah. The question is though, is for that kind of stuff, I don't get me wrong, I completely agree. Definitely needs to be readability. I think the problem is if you do that and put an indication on the map, all of those secret ones which are up a whole bunch of like jump puzzles will then show up on the map and then they're not secret anymore.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
That's true, but I felt like I never needed to go to the secret. Like sometimes I saw it and then I'm like, whatever's up there probably isn't worth the time getting up there.
Right.
So I don't know. It's double-edged sword. As far as the music goes, music's pretty good.
Yeah.
I do think it was weird that the entire game has the exact same BPM.
Yes. That
sure.
was something I was expecting to change.
Yeah, because unfortunately for this game, since it's a rhythm-based roguelike, it will be compared to Crypt. Right?
Yes.
And in Crypt, like every single stage and every single boss has like different things to it. Like some of the bosses have really weird rhythms on it too. So like it wasn't necessary, but I feel like it would have been nice to have at least different BPM to like, especially later in the game, having a faster speed would be a really cool thing because you're like, oh, it's kind of getting harder and harder and harder.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, and you want one of those levels too where it slows the BPM all the way down. You're like, oh, I can't reload as fast as I can. This is killing me. Yeah.
Get good at dodging some kind of level.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, gameplay wise, it's really fun. I like that you're not super punished for missing a beat.
Yes.
It's just your multiplier, and that's just for score, I guess. And like whatever. That's yeah, I think that's it. As far as playing it more, I think I will. This game is really fun, and I often get an urge to just play in FPS, like
sure,
but maybe
Oh,
not competitively. But yeah,
Yeah.
just sometimes randomly, like, oh, I
Yeah.
can just play this.
I recently played Call of Duty, like last year's Call of Duty, just because I felt like playing an FPS that wasn't a competitive one, and this will slot nicely into that, like into that edge to be like, yeah, I could do with that. I could do with an FPS, maybe,
Right.
maybe load up some BPM.
Right. Moon, what do you think about your final thoughts here on BPM?
Honestly, Monkey's made a lot of salient points. Like the game has issues. Like I can also tell how big of a team it is by the fact that literally their last challenges is if we have more money, we'll add more challenges.
Right.
Like it tells you kind of the shoestring that this might have been put together on. But the biggest thing for me with this game, and I don't use this word frequently, it's charming. On so many levels, it's a charming game, and yeah, like it can look bland, and the music can get repetitive, and it is a shame that there isn't that extra, different paces for different levels. But ever since I saw the trailer for this, and then I watched the 8-minute, I watched the first 4 minutes of the 8-minute gameplay trailer that IGN posted. Okay, it needs to go on We Roguelike It. I just need to play it.
It's an easy sale.
I bought it and played it before it even made it onto the We Roguelike It list. And it
right.
It just sucked me in, and it was just one of those things. Just it's very rare I get the one more run these days. Very few games, especially. Not to downplay it or make it sound terrible, but especially for games that we're doing for the show, it's very rare that I get that one more run itch. Normally it's play it for an hour, however many runs that is, and then stop, and then come back to it later. Play it for an hour, however many runs that is, and then stop. Hades was a case of, I'm still playing Hades, and it's 4 hours later.
Right.
This was very much the same for me, where it was just like, one more run. I got time for one more run. I only made it to the first boss in this run, so that's Boston's problem to solve.
That's right.
So I can do another run and then maybe get further. I can do another run and maybe get further. Like this game spoke to me in that kind of way where it's just like, yeah, I could do one more. I could do one more. And only a couple of games on our list have done that for me. And yes, it has its flaws. Yes, it has its problems, and it could be expanded. And hopefully, they make enough money to make a sequel.
Yeah.
And let's Everspace this. Let's change it up a little bit and maybe do something different. But conceptually, it's so original. Don't get me wrong, Crypt is kind of one of a kind, and but conceptually, this old school Doom Quake kind of combat doesn't speak to me on any level at all. Yet still, I absolutely adored playing this game. It was one of those things. Was it has its problems. We are getting up to the Game of the Year awards, so this is under contention for one or two categories of my Game of the Year awards.
Yeah.
And I can't not help but think, yes, I will keep playing this. I will 100% just be like, yeah, I'm doing this, that, the other. I'm rendering a video file or whatever, and I'm going to play some BPM while I wait.
Yeah, just do a run or two.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't have a 3080, so I've got to be careful about what I play while I'm rendering video files.
Tell me about it, man.
But no, it's fun. I like it a lot. Boston?
So I feel like normally I would just say yeah, I agree. But due to the extenuating circumstances this time of me being garbage at this game, I feel like the biggest thing is I genuinely do like this game. The as I said last episode, the problem with the game is with me and not with the game. I think I would like to play it again. Obviously Moon was just talking about the game of the year. Like we're at the sprint here at the end of the year for all the like vacation related stuff. So time is more limited than usual. But I feel like this is one of those games that when it comes to console, this will be something I pick up, even if I don't play it a ton more. I just want to keep supporting this team to say, you guys made a really cool thing. You made a really solid game. I'll buy another copy. I'll give it another shot. If I'm still bad at it, that's fine. That's just me, and you can't be good at everything.
But if it comes to console, obviously my preferred is Xbox.
Right.
Would you be a Switch or a PlayStation 5?
I probably wouldn't be Switch because I feel like I could go for either Series X or PS5. Just the Switch would probably be okay, but I feel like I might get some hand crampiness because of how much you're using, like all the shoulder buttons and everything. I wouldn't be opposed to it, but I feel like a proper full controller would be my preference.
Here's my question. If you get it on the PlayStation 5, wouldn't it be cool for them to put a feature in when you pull the trigger off the beat, it just tightens the resistance so you can't pull it that far?
Would be cool.
That stuff still trips me up in games where it's just like, you can't pull the trigger right now. It's like, okay. Yeah, but that would be... Yeah, if you want to use the haptic feedback, especially for the beats per minute, coming from the opposite sides of the controller, that would be really good too. Send your check over my way.
Excuse me?
That's right. Not over. Yeah, over to DM me for my address, not Moon's. Don't worry about it. Subscribe to the Patreon. All right, so let's figure out where this is going to be in our list. Before we start recording this, talked about where this would end up. We sort of agreed on top 15 here. And I'm looking for Swords of. All right, so is BPM better than Swords of Ditto Classic?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I would say yeah. There's a lot more variety, I think.
Yeah. Is BPM better than Darkest Dungeon?
No, but it's a better roguelike, so it goes above it.
That's fair. I would agree with that. Is BPM better than Solitarica? The old Solitarica.
Such different games.
Yeah, this is the apples and bananas comparison all over again.
Yeah.
I think it is because I like Solitarica, but the biggest downfall for me for Solitarica was it was the same enemies time and time and time again. It was the same run. It was the same run. It was the same...
Oh, sure. Yeah. You're always fighting that same first boss, but like it doesn't really change that much.
How many times do I have to beat the stupid worm? Like,
Right. How many times do I have to teach you this lesson, old man?
Yes.
Yeah.
Agree.
Okay. Is BPM better than 20XX?
I would say yes.
Oh, okay.
I would say yes because, to be honest, this speaks to me on a level that 20XX didn't. Zero connection with Mega Man, which we have established plenty of times. And honestly, roguelikes are hard. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
Some roguelikes are harder than the others. It feels like this sets a pretty solid standard of difficulty. Like this BPM doesn't have that difficulty spike. It does, but it's literally as soon as you hit start. Like that's when it starts getting hard.
Yeah, it's 1-1 is the difficulty spike. Yeah.
20XX was like, oh, you've done all of these stages. Oh, here, have fun on this last boss stage with the most ridiculously high, like, difficulty spike on the planet.
That was
like
rough.
It's so nasty.
Yeah.
Whereas this is just like, oh no, you're in for a tooth kicking. That's what you're getting with this game, and we're going to let you know that literally from the second you hit start run.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think, Monkey?
I was leaning towards 20XX beating, but after you said like that difficulty ramp, that does make sense that BPM would go over 20XX, right? Because like in my mind they're fairly close. But yeah, that 20XX out of nowhere, super hard last level. It's just like, oh yeah, that was a thing, huh?
Yeah.
And like, by the way, have this pixel perfect platformer that you need to do while at the same time getting shot and everything else. It's just like, come on, dude.
Right.
Yeah, and especially when that, because of that level, I only used specific
Same.
thing.
Oh, you had like
I
your
forget
one
what they're called,
build.
the power.
Yeah.
So like I would not use the other ones because they had no use in that level particularly.
Sure.
Mhm.
And
That's a good point.
in BPM, you can just use anything and you can do well.
Yeah.
Magnum is a great weapon. I agree.
That's right. All right, is BPM better than The Legend of Bumbo?
I'm gonna say yes. And the reason I'm saying yes is because it feels a hell of a lot more original than Legend of Bumbo. Nothing against Legend of Bumbo. I love me some match 3 games. Technically one of the greatest match 3 games ever, Meteos, was a match 3 game.
Like, true.
I love that type of game. Bumbo felt broken. Bumbo was a lesson that we learned, which is even if a game just comes out, give it some time and read some reviews before you put it on the show.
I think when you look at BPM, I think you see a really cohesive idea and a really cohesive execution of that vision, and it BPM, I think comparatively feels a lot more scaled back. Like, I'm not saying it's like an MVP product, but it very much feels like, all right, we sort of got our idea working and we executed it, and we didn't go crazy putting like 5,000 things in here. We came up with something, it works really well. Here's a solid game. Where Bumbo feels like it had a bunch of cool ideas and it never gelled the way we now know because of some stuff that Edmund is sharing about its troubled development, why that happened. But it feels like a less cohesive thing.
Yeah.
I agree.
Is BPM better than Nuclear Throne?
This is a personal preference one, I feel like, because they're both pretty solid roguelikes. They're both tough as nails. Nuclear Throne is one of the toughest roguelikes we played on this show, I would say.
It is. Mm-hmm. It is tough.
They're both super unique in art style. I mean, let's face it, Enter the Gungeon owes a lot to Nuclear Throne. A lot of roguelikes owe a lot to Nuclear Throne, to be honest.
Oh, yeah. Yep. I don't think BPM is better than Nuclear Throne. I feel like there is character variety in BPM, but I feel like the character variety, to me, I think character variety is something that's really impactful in a lot of roguelikes.
Yeah, that's because Isaac showed you how it should be done.
I know. Isaac. But I feel like Nuclear Throne, the variety, the degrees of variety between each character is so big that some of them seem bad at the beginning where you're like, yeah, great, I'm going to play the plant, whatever. But like they feel so distinct that each one of them plays so differently, but they encourage different loadouts between each one of them. And I feel like BPM might not encourage as much loadout play and as much loadout variety.
Yeah. And honestly, BPM, the loadout, you basically decided on that by how many keys you get. It's very much you need keys to access the library, you need keys to access the item room, you need keys to access all these other rooms. And it's just like, come on, guys, just maybe make 2 of these rooms not key requirements, and then, it would be a little bit easier and a little bit easier to experiment, because if I have a library or a golden item room, I always open the golden item room.
Sure.
Yeah. I will expand on what you're saying, Boston. I think all the characters play this pretty much the same because because it's a first person shooter, you just circle strafe.
Yeah, there's not a lot you can do there.
You got it. And then in Nuclear Throne, all the character abilities, like with like the crystal, you You don't
reflectable
have to dodge. You can just stay there and reflect, right? And yeah, so I would agree Nuclear Throne beats out BPM.
Okay.
I personally disagree, but
Sure.
in this case, I completely understand where you guys are coming
It's
from.
not the hill you're gonna die on. It's like right to the top. Come on.
It's not even so much that it's not the hill I'm going to die on. It's just you guys make good points, and like I mentioned, this is a personal preference thing.
Yeah.
Despite the different perspectives, these two are very similar games in that aspect, where they're both shooters. They're both kind of twitch and reflex based. They,
Imagine if Nuclear Throne was rhythm based.
First person.
Oh god. Let's make a mod. Here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I think sitting at 11 would do it fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I think in a list of now 29 games, sitting at 11, doing pretty good. That's a pretty good spot to be sitting in. All right, so BPM is at number 11 here, sitting just after Nuclear Throne, sitting in good company up there. And as we talked about in the previous episode, next game we're going to be playing for just 2 weeks is going to be Rogue, the original, the OG. Going to be playing that for, we're going to be playing Rouge. We're going to be playing that for just 2 weeks, and then we'll be taking a 2-week break for the holidays. Then we'll be back for our next game after that, which we'll announce at the end of playing Rogue. So we're not gonna let you leave you hanging. You can get a head start on it too. But thank you very much, everyone, for listening, and we'll see you next run. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.